Hi, Dr. Windish from Sparks Pediatric and Adolescent Medicine here. Coming to you from somewhere in the American Deep South. Sorry I haven't been around a whole lot lately. I moved and I've been practicing in subspecialty medication, pediatrics, and been involved in a bunch of things. And sorry if I appear a little distracted. As soon as I came to make this video, a furry friend, where's his head? There's his head. Decided he wanted to come for attention, and well, he's busy. I'm not going anywhere. There's a lot of reasons why I haven't been around, but this formula shortage makes me feel obligated to speak out. The other day I was perusing Nextdoor, and there were a bunch of people on Nextdoor suggesting making your own formula, and I felt like I need to say something. So here's my 2 cents for parents on the situation. It's a mess that we're in. If you're looking at YouTube, then chances are you've been to every store in town and found they don't have the formulas that you need. Hopefully you're not looking for a specialty formula, because some of those are just a disaster right now. And so maybe you've been listening to the news, maybe you went to some of the governmental websites where they simply tell you, call your pediatrician, because you didn't figure out to do that already. And if you did call your pediatrician, you know, we don't have formula either. For years, we've been told by the American Academy of Pediatrics, if you want a baby-friendly practice, if you want a breast-friendly practice, don't stock any formula in your office. So many pediatricians have abandoned stocking any formula, and most stock only nominal amounts of formula. So when this shortage hit us, we didn't have stockpile. Oh, Cookie Monster, we didn't have stockpiles to give you either. And you know, and there's a good chance your pediatrician doesn't even live in the same neighborhood as you. I moved to where I live, then I changed jobs for a better job in specialty pediatrics, but now I practice 50 miles from where I live, and I didn't want to upend my family a third time, so I don't live in the neighborhood where I work. So, and that's true of so many of my colleagues. We don't live where we work, so I don't know the local grocery stores, and even if I did, they're all empty. Let's just face facts. And I'm going to scoot over here and close the door now that my cat has left and knocked everything off my desk. But you know, so your pediatrician may not necessarily know what's in your local grocery stores, and we don't know any better than you. You know, we're going up and down the aisles just like you do. When I lived in Sparks, which was a small town, so everybody did live in the same neighborhood. You know, when I was looking for stuff, I just went up and down the aisles, just like you do, for all the good that's worth. And then the government sends you to the American Academy of Pediatrics website. So if you go to the AAP's website and their infinite genius, they tell you to check social media, which, you know, your neighbors don't have any formula to give you either. And then they said, well, borrow a can from a friend. Well, that's genius, because your friends have stockpiles. They don't have any either. So we've got a mess. But what people are saying on Up to Date is, well, make your own formula. Of all of the options that are out there, this is hands down the worst possible choice. And so I'm here to implore you, whatever you do, do not make a homemade formula. This is a recipe for a dead baby. Even if you're not on specialty formula, this is a recipe for a dead baby. Let me emphasize this again. This is a recipe to maim or kill your child. Do not make your own formula. One of my neighborhood geniuses suggested mixing milk with Caro syrup, and said that's what moms in the 50s did. In the 50s, moms mixed milk with Caro syrup to treat constipation in older kids. All right? It makes you have diarrhea. So milk already has too many salts in it to be safe to give a baby. It'll give you diarrhea, but then when you mix a high dose of sugar in it in the form of a minimally absorbable sugar in the form of Caro syrup, you induce what's called an osmotic diarrhea, and you make the kid who's constipated poop. So if you would like to take your already slightly dehydrated baby and dehydrate him further so that you can send him into shock, this is a really good way to do it. All right, do not mix milk with Cara syrup. That was never infant formula. That was treatment for constipation before we had Miralax and Senecot and magnesium citrate and all the stuff that we use today. So please, please, whatever you do, don't do that. The Food and Drug Administration in the United States says don't buy formula from abroad because we haven't tested it. It's not approved by us. Well, if it's not manufactured in the United States for sale in the United States, it's not going to be FDA approved. Oftentimes, it's the same recipe in the same factory. So the question then becomes, do you trust Canadian formula manufacturers? I've been to Canada many times. My wife's Canadian. I don't think twice about eating food in Canada. I don't think twice about buying stuff off the store shelves in Canada. I don't check the labels and worry about the purity of what I'm buying in Canada. And if I'm in Canada and I get sick, I go into a Canadian pharmacy and I buy Canadian drugs. How many of us buy Canadian drugs and have it quasi-legally shipped across the border? Am I suggesting you do this? Absolutely not. It's illegal. How many of us do it? Should you buy Canadian formula? I don't have the answers for you. But I know Canadians buy Canadian formula. Millions of them do every single day. And we don't see them dropping dead because you can watch Canadian news. What about formula from Mexico? Certainly there are places in Mexico you can't drink the water, but they do know how to purify water in Mexico. I've spent probably an entire year of my life or more, maybe 2 years of my life in Mexico. And as many of you know, I'm bilingual because I spend so much time in Mexico, and I've been all over the country from Baja California all the way down to the border with Guatemala and Belize. I don't have the answers again. The obvious downside, besides purity and testing and how much do you trust the FDA in the first place, to A, tell you the right thing to eat, and B, how much do you trust them to even tell you about what drugs and foods are safe. The obvious problem is you got to be able to get the Canadian and the Mexican foods, and I don't have the answers for pipelines for how to get it here. I do know that the Biden administration is flying in formula, I believe it is from Germany. So apparently we trust the Germans, but not the Canadians. Or maybe we don't trust them either and we're just bringing it in. I'm a little confused about why we're bringing in German formula and not Canadian formula. Maybe the Canadians won't sell it to us and the Mexicans won't sell it to us. I don't know. At least in bulk, and sell it to the government. They'll sell it to citizens. There are some who say, well, you should just start breastfeeding. That's easier said than done. That being said, if that's something you want to pursue, this would be a really good opportunity to talk about it. So I'm assuming for a minute you don't have a brand newborn. If you have a brand newborn, if you just gave birth in the last day or two, that one's easy. Start putting the baby to breast every 2 hours, your problem will be solved. But if you've been on formula for any length of time before the shortage happened, you already know you can't just put the baby to your breast and boom, there's the milk. You know, it magically turned on. It takes a while for that to happen. And in fact, if you haven't had a baby anytime recently, it takes roughly 9 months. Because the minute you get pregnant and start releasing hormones, what's one of the first symptoms of pregnancy? It's breast tenderness. Well, but it's a process. It doesn't do it overnight any more than you could go find an abandoned factory in Alabama or Tennessee or New York and immediately start turning out widgets, tanks, formula. It takes a while. But there are things you can do to help and to get this going. Now, in the meantime, you still got to find formula. And again, I don't have the answers for you. But if you have your baby, put them to breast every 2 hours. Nothing stimulates breast milk better than a human infant. Why? Because we are designed as humans, specifically we meaning women. I am not a woman, but women humans, my friends, my spouse, my loved ones, my patients, are designed to have babies as humans. That's what we do, and part of that is to feed them. So nothing stimulates the factory, nothing turns the factory on better than a human baby. So put your baby to breast every 2 hours. Now, if you are fortunate enough that you got your baby sleeping through the night and you don't want to roust your baby, what do? This is where breast pumps come in. If you're working and you can't take your baby to work, or you're not working from home, this is where breast pumps come in. But you have to stimulate your breasts every 2 hours, and you do it with preferably a baby. If you don't have the baby with you everywhere you go, it's a pump every 2 hours. All right, and in the beginning, the baby's not going to get much. If you do not have a preemie baby, and by preemie, I mean a brand new preemie. If you've got a preemie who was born a month early, but now he's 3 months old, this really doesn't apply to you. But if you got a brand new preemie baby, talk to your lactation specialist about this, but before you do anything. But if you've got, a 3-month-old term infant, or 3-month-old, even formerly 2-month preemie baby, there's an herb you can get from many pharmacies called fenugreek. 2 capsules 4 times a day until you start making milk, and until you have adequate milk supplies, and then you can taper off of it. So then go to 1 capsule 4 times a day, then 1 capsule 3 times a day, and so on until you're off of it. They also sell mother's milk tea, which is essentially fenugreek plus some other ingredients to help with milk letdown. But those are some, and use that with the pump, with the baby, because you need both the chemical stimulation and the physical stimulation from the baby or the pump. This will speed the process, and you can certainly relactate much faster if you've recently had a baby than if you've never had a baby, or if your last baby was 5 years ago, where the factory's been shut down for a long time. And because we're doing exceptional stimulation, you'll speed stuff up. It won't take you 9 months. How long will it take? Unfortunately, everybody's body is different, and I can't make predictions. But this will help you. Might the shortage of formula disappear before you relactate? Yeah, it might. But we don't know how long this is going to go on. So, in the meantime, it's a race to get adequate food for your baby. So that's an option that's open to you. I wish I had more words of sage wisdom, but my one big take-home message: please don't make your own formula. People say, well, in the 50s they did, everybody did fine. No, they did not do fine. They did not do fine. They came into the ERs seizing, they came into the ERs dehydrated, they came into the ERs in renal failure, and a percentage of infants didn't make it. Infant mortality in the 50s was 5 times what it is now. Please don't make your own formula. It wasn't safe then. It's not safe now. People used a lot of wet nurses in the 50s because homemade formulas were disastrous. So don't do it. We did a lot of things in the 50s we thought were good ideas. We had home atomic toy kits for kids to play with radioactive materials, and we had lawn darts, and we rode around in the back of trucks, and we didn't use seatbelts. Everybody goes, oh, the good old days. Yeah, you can reminisce about those days, but I'm old enough. I got a friend who is not here anymore because he wasn't wearing a bicycle helmet. And coming from Reno, where people still don't follow seatbelt laws, they drop dead every day because they're not wearing seatbelts. I mean, it's just disastrous constantly. Wasn't a good idea in the 50s, not a good idea now, and same thing with the homemade formula. So please don't. I wish you the best of luck. This is awful. I wish I had, better suggestions on supply chains. Fact is, nobody's got it here in the United States. When nobody's got it in the United States, desperate times call for desperater measures. But making your own formula is not a desperate measure. That's a disastrous measure. That's like making your own homemade explosive. It's going to go off in your hand. Anyway, I wish you best of luck. I don't have my own office, so I can't give you my phone number because it's not my office phone number to give out. And hopefully this comes to an end soon. Have a good afternoon.